talk about our rescue dogs for just a minute, and I kind of want to share a little bit about each dog this year. So we're going to start with Tom's dogs. Tom actually has 3 dogs. He has Boomer, Boo, and Geneva. Boo is, whoops.
Boo and Boomer, same thing.
Okay, Boo and Boomer, same thing, okay. Boo came from Chicago about 9 years ago along with Sparty, and Tom just lost Sparty recently at 17 years old. So they live a wonderful, long, happy life with Tom. She was rehomed because one of the children in the family had severe allergies to dogs, and so they were unable to keep her. So Tom now has Boomer and Geneva. Geneva is 14 years old, and she came from Linden, Washington 2 years ago. He adopted her as a 12-year-old. She was in a home that fell on hard times financially and wasn't able to keep her anymore, so they gave her up out of the kindness of their heart for her to have a better home and a better life. So that was tough. Tom still keeps in touch with the owner so that they know how Geneva's doing. She's a really sweet. She says, "I think there's been food in this ring. I'm pretty sure I smell something." And Tom has always got an open home when we have a dog that may be a little more difficult to place, and we need a place to put a dog even temporarily. Tom's door is always open, and most of the time those dogs decide to stay there forever. Tom just takes them in and keeps them forever. So he's given some dogs in need a really good home. Okay, this is Corey and Jane Glassman, and they have a dog, Trey, that's 9 years old. Trey's lived in a couple different homes. And Trey's always wanted to be a house dog, and in her past home wasn't a house dog, so her dream came true when she got to come and live with them. She's been a house dog, and she has a great companion, Kingsley, another Elkhound to play with, and so she's got a really good life living with the Glassmans. She gets really excited when they come home, and she flips on her back so they can give her a belly rub, and that's how she wants to be greeted when they return home. So that's a lot of fun. Can I do my trick? She says,
bang.
I'm thinking about it. You got any food?
See? Bang. Bang. Come on.
She loves her cookies.
Thank you.
Okay, and see how Howard are here. This is Rick and Alex, and they adopted their dog Percy. And Percy kind of has a sad story. Percy came from Tucson, Arizona. And his owner was a younger gentleman but passed away. And Percy and the other Elkhound that lived with him were sent to a shelter. And the other Elkhound was adopted and Percy wasn't. So he was sent to a second shelter where he waited for a home. So at that point, a rescue group from California drove over to get him and brought him home, and he lived in California for a couple months. And we were able to find him a home up here in Washington, so we were able to move him up here. He's doing great. He did have a medical issue. He had a seizure at one point and was on seizure medication. He apparently continues to be on seizure medication.
Oh yeah, he's had quite a few episodes. Yeah, he's on a lot of medication.
But he's a really sweet dog. He looks very happy to be in his new home. I bet, you know, he was grateful to get a permanent place and have somebody who loved him. Poor old guy. And I'm going to let you, this is another rescue dog, and you'll have to tell me your name and you can, Patty.
And Frank is over there.
Okay, hi Frank. Can you tell us a little bit about your dog?
Yes, this is Gretchen. She's 5 years old, about 5.5 now, and she belonged to actually a neighbor of ours. She lived in a very dysfunctional home. A lot of fighting, drinking going on and everything, and so she was always over at our house, and then they moved out. They just moved out and left her. So we took her, and she's been a really happy dog.
Lucky dog.
She's a dog that never had toys, never had anything of her own, and so now she does.
Yes, oh, I bet she loves
And
that.
goes hiking, and she's been to Oregon and out to the beach and everywhere with us. She goes everywhere.
5 years old.
She's about 5.5.
She's a cute
And she's
dog.
wonderful. Oh, Gretchen, look at her.
So if you guys don't mind, I know the dogs are old and worn, but would you just make a slow lap around the ring so that we can give you a hand for all the kindness you've offered these dogs, giving them all a wonderful home. Did you get in the picture, Tom? How old is she now? Year and a half. She was purchased by an elderly couple that bought her for breeding to make extra money. And unfortunately, things kind of fell apart. Her husband passed away, her health went downhill, and her children weren't happy she had the dog. So they turned the dog loose on a regular basis, her adult children, hoping it would run away. And it always ran to the same neighbor's house. So the neighbor called me and asked me to take the dog in. And I contacted the owner for permission, and she said yes, and then she called back and said no. So a couple days later, she called again, and this time she said yes, the dog has to go. So Lee was close at hand, and I said, could you foster this dog? You can get it the quickest, and if we don't get it today, she's going to change her mind. So Lee buzzed over there and grabbed the dog, and he took it home to foster it, but it decided to stay with him too. So foster failure. Foster failure. So now it sleeps on his daughter's bed, and I guess she's a wonderful little dog. We haven't met her yet. So Lee has a dog that she can play with, so she's got a companion too.
What do you see?